everyone, this is Miss Cromwell, and here is this upcoming week's math homework. Last week we introduced multiplication, and overall, a lot of the students are accomplishing it, and they're like really grasping the different strategies. And so we just wanted to make sure we had lots of practice with those, because they will be seeing them frequently for the remainder of our school year. So on here, it says indicate hops on each number line and complete the multiplication sentences. All right. So number 1 is 5 times 3. Yes, they do, in fact, have to show the work on a number line. They will see that on their test. Yes. So make sure that your students are actually using the number line and not just answering the problem. Even if they know it by heart, I need to make sure, and it's not just me, but they need to make sure that they know how to use the number line correctly. So when we see a multiplication problem like this, it says 4 hops of 3. So 4 of something of the 3. 4 hops of 3. So I told the students, because it gets a little hard, to just make little slight small boxes with their pencils. It doesn't have to be very dark. And we want to do groups of 3. So we got 1, that's 2, and that's 3. So we went 3. We went right here. So that means we always start at 0, from 0 to that first line, and you put an arrow here. Okay. Well, that's one group, 1 hop of 3. We want 4 hops. So same thing. 1, 2, 3. So we go from the spot where we stopped to our new stop. Make sure they have that arrow. That's the second hop. We want 4. 1, 2, 3. Another hop to the 9, which is our third hop. So we're almost there. But we want 4 hops. So 1, 2, 3. And then hop. There we're at. That's at 4 hops. And then what did we land on? I always have the students circle it. They have 12. So that is how we do multiplication on a number line. We're going to use this same thing for division. But the biggest thing for that is that the arrows go the opposite direction. So we'll have more practice with those later, probably next week. All right. So that is the multiplication on a number line. On the back, we have the fact family arrays. So we've kind of talked about it a little bit. We have not fully introduced it yet. It will be this week when it is introduced. But I went ahead and put it on now because it really, really helps, because we have already started talking about like the inverse thing, the inverse properties. So we're going to get there shortly, but it's just very beneficial for them to keep getting practice, because this is one, I want to say it's not really a hard skill, but for some reason, it's more difficult for a lot of kids. So they should first start with how many down? 1, 2, 3, 4. I ask all students to always write it on their array, because this is an array. Because it's going to show that you know what you know. And then if your answers down here are wrong, I'm going to be like, okay, that's because they counted wrong. All right, so we have 4 down. How many across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so my first multiplication sentence is going to be 4 times 7 equals, and for right now, yes, I want all of the students to be able to be fluent in multiplication, for them to be able to just memorize it. However, starting out, I would prefer for them to count, if it's an array, to actually count them all, especially since this is only the beginning of the second week that we've taught it in class. That way they are able to be accurate. And then I'm asking students to actually physically touch each one, because it's more likely to help them stay accurate. So I'm going to use a different color. So 4 times 7, and then kind of like mark them off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So 4 times 7 is 28. They are learning that just like addition, for multiplication, your factors, or these two digits, can be flopped. So 4 times 7 is 28. Well, so is 7 times 4. Okay? And then with all fact families, just like from addition and subtraction, there was always 2 addition and 2 subtraction. There's always 2 multiplication and 2 division. So with division, it's important for students to remember that the largest number goes first. So 28 divided by, and then they can choose either 4 or 7. Doesn't matter which one goes first. I'm going to do 4. 28 divided by 4 equals, the only other one we haven't used is a 7. And then your second division fact would be 28 divided by 7 equals 4. It's very important for students to know that when you're doing your fact families, you're using the same 3 numbers every time, just in different orders. All right. I don't think there's any other confusing ones on here. So I think we should be good. Let me double check this one real quick. All right. So let's just go ahead and flip to the next page. All right. Our next one is a great, what was this? Just a good review skill. A lot of students have a hard time with it because they just want to be able to look at each one side by side. And they're like, oh, I can do it, I can do it. But so many students are getting things wrong. So we really would like them to stack. All right, so they have grid paper. Feel free to use it. I try to make sure we had plenty of space on this side. This number is 1,668. So 1,600. Oh, let me bring it down a little bit. 1,668. And then we have 1,717. And then we start with that largest value. 1 and 1, same or different? Those are the same, so mark them off. 6 and 7, same or different? Oh, they're different. Well, which one's bigger? Oh, this number. So 1717 is the bigger number. And that is the one that alligator is going to do. A lot of students like the alligator mouth. They're like, oh, opening mouth type deal. But we are trying to get students in the habit of being able to read this, to know that this would say 1,668 is less than 1,717. Because on tests, it's not always the signs. Sometimes it is actually the words. So when they see less than, we're hoping that they know it's this. And then if it said greater than, then we want students to be able to go like that. So that is what we're doing. That is what we're working towards. But we're going to work on, all the way down. Sometimes they're very easy to tell. I've had lots of students are like, well, like for down here, 6,721, and then this one's 1,034. Well, I can easily see that the 6 is bigger than that 1 in the thousand spot. So I get it if they don't want to do that, but I'm always letting them know, like, we have to have show work. So it takes an extra minute to sit and stack. So 6,721 and then 1,034. But then you get the same thing. So 6 and 1, they're different, which is bigger. The 6,000, and that's the one I got. So most students have been doing pretty good with it, but it was very tricky on some of our items, previous tests. And then our last math for the week is going to be repeated addition, which is another multiplication strategy. So this is saying 3 plus 3. Oops. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals. And then it came down, basically that's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups. So 4 groups of 3 equals. You're going to have the same answer in both of these. If your student is telling you they have different answers, please tell them they are doing it wrong. Somewhere they are miscounting. again, if they have it memorized or they think they do, I would prefer them to still really count each one for right now, because that way they're getting more fluent and more practice. Because currently I'm not sure if I necessarily trust anyone yet with being fluent since we've only been doing this for a week. So if I were going to count all these, some students like to put numbers inside to keep them straight. Others can keep in their head. Whatever works best for your student as long as it is correct. So I'm just going to write on each one. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So both of these would be 12. Okay. Now, if you go down just a little bit, it's the same exact thing, but this time they have to figure it out. Okay. So, for example, if I'm looking right here, how many is in this group? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we've got 1 group of 4, 2 groups of 4, 3 groups of 4, 4 groups, 5 groups, 6 groups, 7 groups. So down here you could do 7 groups of 4. And then up here you might do 4. All right. There's 4 again, 4 again, 4 again, 4 again, 4 again, and 4 again. These are a little more simple just for the simple fact that it has the correct number of spaces between each addition sign. However, it is not always like that. So it is very, very important for students to realize and make that connection that each time we write that number 4, it's because we have a model that represents that. And then same thing, I want students to actually be counting, touching each one or writing in the middle. Third graders do not get to use calculators. I've had a few students try to bring in some from home. They do not get to use them. So as much as I would love to help students be practicing that, unfortunately, we are not able to use them on any of our assessments in 3rd grade. So let's look through here. So I'm going to just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. So both of them are going to be equal 28 because it is the exact same problem. So that is what we're working on this one. If we flip to the back, this is just a short little passage. Let me see if I can zoom out just a little. It's a short little passage. We just want students to get some extra reading practice in, and then answering, it only has 3, but answering in complete sentences. Like right here for C, what colors were the leaves changing into? All right, so for what colors are the leaves changing into, we want them to go back up into their passage. And if they can please underline it or highlight if you have a highlighter or anything, because we want to see that they're coming back. So if you're looking up here, they're changing color from green to orange, red and yellow. So we really want these to be complete sentences. So something like the leaves are changing colors from green to orange, red, and yellow. With that, please make sure they are spelling these words correctly. It is right in front of them. It should not be difficult, hopefully. On the back, this is which nouns need to be capitalized. So this is a review. We've already discussed this. They've been doing this probably since, I want to say 1st grade, but definitely 2nd grade. But I feel very confident it is also a 1st grade skill. Okay, so it just says complete each sentence with the correct form of the noun in parentheses. So we would like for students to read each one. So for example, number 1 said, Mama and I will go to the blank next month. Well, does the word lake need to be capitalized or not? Well, they need to be able to ask themselves, is it a proper noun? And is it the name of something? In this example, this is not, so it would be a lowercase l. Please make sure that you're using the whole word, not just the letter, because, sometimes I'm concerned. Let's do number 6, because that's a good example. So, is blank a strict teacher? So right here you have Mr. Brown 3 different times. So the first one, both of these are lowercase. The second one, Mr. is lowercase, but not Brown. And then, or Mr. is uppercase. I apologize. And then Mr. Brown, both the M and the B are both uppercase. So the student needs to be able to ask, all right, hold on. Is it a proper noun? Is it a name of something? And yes, it is. Mr. Brown. So these both need to be capitalized. So Mr. and then Brown. There we go. So that is what they will be doing all the way down. I love when students read these out loud to their adults, just so that adults are able to hear that fluency and see how your own child is doing at reading. And this last one is it says Summers here. I know we would all love so. But it is a passage on the first page. A good size passage. But it has some good vocabulary in here. So like temperature, we have celebrate. Okay. There's some other ones. But we're really trying to do some more like the multi-syllabic words, those multiple syllables. Here's another great vocabulary word, anxiously. So, gathered. So I know it's typically an easier passage, but it's just some great practice on there. But on the back is where we're going to have the questions. So, understanding the text, fill in the boxes to tell the story elements from the passage. And this one was chosen to do because it's similar to a graphic organizer, which students are seeing a lot right now with their, well, we always see them, but specifically like right now because we're working on our expository essay. So for characters, since these are just a graphic organizer, these don't even need to be in complete sentences. So characters, if I flip over back to my passage and I figure out, all right, who are my characters? Students should read through the passage, and maybe when they're reading, write down what characters they see. Right now I already see Summer is here, Jack shouted as he ran into Anna's room. Wake up, Summer is here. All right, so Jack is already a character, so I might write it over here so I don't forget. Oh my goodness, and there I go, already spelling it wrong. Jack, not Jake. Sorry about that. And then if you keep going, as you continue to go, you'll see Anna. Anna's also in here. So who are the characters? Jack and Anna. So when you come to your graphic organizer, that is what we're looking for. Okay. Now, if students are all for putting them in complete sentence, I am loving it. I will not be upset. But since it is a graphic organizer, it is appropriate for it to just be like little short things. Okay. So we want to know what the characters, the setting, the problem, the solution. See if your student can let you know what other words they could use for problem and solution. Hopefully they're coming up with something called conflict. And for solution, maybe resolution. So, because they'll see that a lot on their assessments. So it usually doesn't say, what is the problem in the story. It'll ask something about the conflict of the story. And then at the bottom, make a connection to the passage. What does this passage remind you of or made you think about? This should be more complete sentence-ish, type thing. That is the goal. But again, if it's a graphic organizer, I'm going to take what I can get. But if your student is like, nothing, please don't write the word nothing. Have them just write, this passage reminds me of nothing. If that's what they want to do. If you have any questions, reach out to your student's teacher, and have a great evening.